Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. After lawmakers send into blame game. So this essentially proves why. I'm gonna read a few paragraphs off the top, then we're gonna both give our thoughts. So former President Donald has remained silent over the toxic train derailment in. Actually, let me get me the night driving thing. What's it called? There we go. Okay. Let's take the volume.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that, folks. So, Mr. Trump, who's running for the White House in 2024, oh, God help us, has yet to comment on the 3rd February incident, which saw around 50 rail cars of a Norfolk Southern train, some carrying hazardous materials, go careening off the tracks. Critics have pointed to the administration's decision in 2017 to roll back an earlier Obama rule, which required some freight trains to use electronically controlled pneumatic brakes if cars were carrying flammable liquids. Oh, excuse me. Several Democrats appeared.
Is overwhelmingly white.
Go ahead. Put that. No, so I want to put that video after you finish yours. Go ahead.
Yeah, several Democrats appeared to place blame at Mr. Store. We are concerned that the Trump administration rolled back some of the safety rules and some of the railroad safety and worker safety rules. Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown told The Independent earlier this week, I mean, every chance get, they weaken worker safety rules. Listen to this. They weaken worker safety rules. They weaken environmental rules. They weaken consumer protection rules. So what we want to know if we've got to fix that, but that doesn't help now all they can is just, let the chemicals burn and just put out the fire cautiously as to not risk a shrapnel explosion. This is what do every time they're in office. They just deregulate, cut taxes, cut environmental protections and regulations, and everything goes to folks. They don't care about you at all. They don't.
Okay, my problem with that is the way they came out. The right wing came out with a narrative that was a bit scary. Like, for example, let's look at this small video for a second, just to give you an idea.
Yeah.
White, and it's politically conservative. East Palestine is overwhelmingly white, and it's politically conservative. More than 70% of the voters in the surrounding county supported Donald Trump in the last election. That shouldn't be relevant, but as you're about to hear, it very much is. 11 days ago, a 150-car train derailed in and when it did, it spewed poisonous chemicals onto the ground and into the surface waters. After the crash, the Ohio State EPA found evidence of butyl acrylate in the Ohio River, as well as in the creeks and streams that feed it. Now, this was a concern for more than simply given that the Ohio River supplies drinking water to about 1/10 of the entire U.S. population.
Right.
So this train derailment was an environmental disaster. Not an environmental disaster like climate, but an actual environmental disaster.
That is possibly an even more significant environmental disaster, Tucker. I don't know. Like,
Okay, but
you had me in the first few seconds about, this being an absolute environmental disaster, and it was, but climate change is. Anyway, what were you going to say?
The narrative was you saw in the beginning. East Palestine is white, is conservative, and they all voted overwhelmingly for Trump. Is it relevant? Yes, it is. And he never answered that question. They started this narrative, Tim Pool, Charlie Kirk. It's a war on white. I couldn't understand how the train derailed in a town that's only 5,000 people. There's a war on white people.
Palestine is overwhelmingly white.
You put it in?
And
You did it? Or who did it? You did that?
Yeah. I said, sorry, I had my mic muted. I just wanted to see if that was the entire clip. You played the whole thing, right?
Yeah, I played the whole thing.
Okay, great.
He never talked about what it has to do with the war on white people. Charlie Kirk did the same thing. It's a war on white people. Tim Pool had a whole segment and was reading about extremists and all that stuff in a Time magazine, and he didn't want to read the whole thing because it was alluding to right-wing extremists. You understand what I'm saying? So the whole idea is they pretend that it's the fault of and whatever, but you know what it is, that they had these regulations in 2015 by the Obama administration. Donald came and deregulated everything. They had this incident. All of a sudden, they're crying foul. Oh, they're trying to kill the white people. You have to blame what the blame itself. I want you to be honest. You understand? Don't be honest to your viewers. Forget about me. Don't make something up like that, something dangerous. There's a war on the white people by who? Ohio, the governor is white. The Senate in Ohio is white. The House is white. Everything is white as in Ohio. You understand what I'm saying? So what are you trying to say? There was the government was there was a terrorist attack or something trying to kill 4,000 people in a small town. Why would they pick up?
Yeah, they'll blame it on Antifa or the Jews or whoever.
That's some dangerous shit, man. What they doing free is dangerous, man. And they're just making things. They're making these things up, and they're not thinking about the responsibility of what they say and how people hear it, because a lot of people believe what they say. You saw those segments on the
They'll
Daily
believe
Show.
anything. CRT, showing kids rainbow flags is tantamount to raping them. They'll believe just anything. I'm convinced you could tell. Vaccine magnetization or communist influence or whatever. You could tell them that. I don't know, some preposterous claim that the moon is made of cheese. They'll probably believe it, especially if they're far gone enough. They will believe it. Trust me.
Yeah. So if you have a viewership of 3 million people a night, they're gonna watch that. And okay, what's the repercussion of that? I mean, what are we gonna do if people believe that and they actually take it to heart? What do you want to start? I mean, do you really want people to start killing each other in the street? I mean, with this dumb narrative you're doing, you're supposed to be. It's okay. He had it right in the end. It's an environmental accident, right? And there's a danger to the environment, and it's going to endanger a lot of life. People are probably going to get cancer. And I hate every time an accident happens, they start giving out money, and people just want to pick up the $1,000 check. Get the out of the village, man. Don't stay there until the clears up. Go to another city. Because I'm from New York. I saw Manhattan. A lot of people died from the fumes from those buildings. Cancer, lung cancer, all those firefighters, God bless them, they all died 10, 15 years later from all these cancers. It shows you that you cannot trust what the government say. But the whole idea, there's no war on white people. It's not a war on anybody. It's just an accident. It's corporate greed, followed by government deregulation and stupidity and corruption in our government that does not want to put up the things up to date. They have brakes that are 100 years old. They want to put an electronic brake. Go ahead, Free.
Yeah, and this is the fundamental contradiction of conservatism and this whole legacy Americans keep America American shtick that they do. Even people who dog whistle to make themselves come off as these white nationalist types, they don't actually care about white people at the end of the day. This is the worst part of politics, because at the end of the day, you legitimately think you're talking to an interlocutor who thinks their views are the best for society, and you think your views are the best for society. But the sad reality is that's just not how it is. 90% of the time on this show, we're debunking these grifters who just say anything and just put in as many sponsorships in their videos as possible because they're in it for the money. They don't believe in that conservative nonsense. I honestly think, few people do. But they don't care about white people, because if they did, they'd blame regulation on this. Remember when Tucker passed himself off as a populist? Okay, well, if you're truly a populist, which you're not, populism inherently can't be right wing. When you pass yourself off as a populist, why not blame corporate deregulation and lobbying and laissez-faire capitalism for these environmental and humanitarian disasters?
Yeah. Just tell the truth.
Wait, you don't, because you're ultimately beholden to the same interests those neocon, neoliberal lunatics are. You're the same species, except you're a little more racist, maybe a little more protectionist to signal that you're, a bit of a populist. But cases like this just demonstrate that you're the same breed as them, man.
He makes $35 million a year from Fox News. You think he'll give that up?
Jesus freaking Christ!
Okay, he'll go out and start fire on his own. If shit doesn't happen, he'll start going out and start shooting white people in different areas just to create a crisis. Like, what's that name? Charles Manson. Charles Manson, right? You heard of him, that killer?
Yeah, Manson.
What is it, Charlie Manson? What did he say?
Charles I think.
Yeah, that's their leader. That's because he's the original one. Want to start a race war by killing the Tate and all that stuff, and wrote the Helter Skelter. I call him. That's their leader. Anyway, the whole idea is that they want to blame and the administration. This is a state. States have rights. The governor, 𝖤𝖺yitéte said that when the president first called him, we have him on video. He said, "I told him we don't need anything right now." Then the next day he walked it back. The president said, "Anything you want, it is at your discretion. Whatever you want, whatever you need, we'll give it to you." Oh, but I mean, the federal government cannot just go in there. They have to be invited first to come in. You have to understand state right and federal right. This is a state issue. And then when you have the failure leadership, failure at the state level, where they just watch and burn the things down, and still like 3-4 days, almost 10 days, right, before people started talking about it, sounding the alarm of what's going on. The whole issue is here, white people need better education, access to better education.